You're listening to Kevin and the Spleen.
No one's gonna ever love me.
1098.5 Radio QWX. Real quick.
Bussin', no cap.
No cap.
Really smack you in the ass with flavor. There you go. This show is about depression, anxiety, PTSD, and chronic illness.
We going quick. We're trying to keep you on the path to the ride home on the evening time.
It's a fucking zoo.
Make it Quicks. With the Quicks Radio.
White lives do not matter.
Hey, Kevin, is my mic working? Kevin, you've been fucking with my mic.
We got you a brand new mic, man. You're going to sound fantastic today.
Well, then what are all these chew marks in the fucking cord, Kevin?
Well, I didn't say it was a new mic. It was just a new to you mic.
Okay, so now you're lying. Now we caught you in a lie. Kevin's a famous liar. You said it was a new mic, and then you said you never said it was a new mic. But you did. You had just said that. I was trying to get into position. You know, folks at home know I get in position. And my neck's locking up, Kevin. Does the new mic lock your neck? Is that some sort of feature? Is that the camera, some sort of auto-tracking feature that moves my body, contorts my body into the right position?
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know how you can take like a chicken head and then move the body around and stuff like that? That's what we're trying to do with you. We're kind of like a gimbal.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You've never seen that before where you can like,
I'm supposed to be the crazy one. What is happening with you today?
I don't know. It's one of those days where I'm going to be a little crazy. Yeah, but you know you've seen the videos where like you take a chicken and move it around and its head stays perfectly locked no matter what you do. It's the same.
I feel like that's other birds. I think other birds do that.
I've seen someone in person do that with a chicken before. That's just where my brain went.
Oh, la-dee-da. Kevin's seen a chicken. Fucking money bags over here.
I have, yes. When you grow up in the ritzy part of Nebraska, you see chickens, yes.
Anyway, we're recording from the oubliette today. Oh, shit, a car. Oh, Kevin, Spleen got hit by a car again.
I don't know
how that keeps happening. That's insane. Twice in 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks? I don't know. Who cares? Kevin,
I don't know.
We gotta get through some business. We got a great guest for you folks, but first we have to take care of some business. I wish we had queued up the sound, the classic Taco Bell sound. You know, the bong.
That would have been really smart.
Yeah, that would have been very smart. I feel like we've maybe used that in the past too. It might be somewhere. But Kevin, you want to show the folks at home what we're bonging about?
Yes.
Speaking of bonging, go ahead, Kevin.
There we go. See?
Wow.
So somebody sent this to our PO box with no address. Nothing. So if you sent this to us, can you email thathappenspod@gmail.com and let us know like who this was for, what we should do with it. If you
this isn't recorded live, if this is a bomb that you're going to set the remote off, it's not going to work. This isn't being recorded live, so it's not. The timing's not going to work. Right after this episode, that's going into a bomb-proof safe. Don't even test us. I'm sorry, Kevin. Go ahead.
Yeah. For those who were just listening, by the way, that probably made absolutely no sense.
Check us out. We're on YouTube now.
We're on YouTube at That Happens Pod.
This is the most convoluted way to describe. Like, this is the weirdest bit we've had to come up with showing we're on YouTube. Anyway, someone sent us. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. We're both just in some other place right now.
I'm in an oubliette.
It's a neon sign of the Taco Bell logo. It's beautiful. I love it.
Gorgeous sign.
I wish I knew who sent it and why. So if you are Taco Bell who's trying to sponsor us or something, you should definitely have let us know because we would probably do that.
Yeah, and if you're a person and you did tell us before and I didn't look at the email or something, I'm sorry. But tell us anyway. thathappenspod@gmail.com. Let's get in touch. Let's hear what the people are saying. My ears are open. That sounds so gross. My ears are open. Anyway, that's about it, right, Kevin? Do you have anything else?
No, that's it. That was the main thing. I've been wondering the last day of who sent that. So yeah.
I like talking to you more at the beginning of the episode. We gotta maybe that'll translate into the rest of the episode. Maybe you'll be talking during the episode. But we got a fucking guest. We got one hell of a guest for you folks. This guy, he knows what's what. He's a comedian. of stand-up and possibly other art forms, but who knows? A D&D player or Pathfinder, probably all a multidisciplinary RPG player. He is a comedy writer as well as the host of Never Seen It, a podcast that actually has effort put into and people actually enjoy. Kyle Ayers is here. How's it going, Kyle?
Hello. Yeah, people do enjoy. People do enjoy, and they like the effort. But I hate the effort.
Yeah,
I resent it.
Yeah, we're two sides of the same coin. Is like one is the relaxation and comfort of knowing you don't have to try at all, but then also the knowing that it's bad. There's not,
I never regret anything quite like when I have to have had done something, or even worse, ask something of someone else.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for doing the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
I'm doing okay. I'm coming fresh off of being an observational judge at a children's tennis tournament. So my energy is just in a particularly hilarious place of watching kids not know it doesn't matter that much.
Right. So are you kind of, like with young kids basketball, the referees are kind of really lenient, but they're still blowing the whistle and stuff. Are you like being like, haha, kids, it's all in fun? Or are you, playing the role?
Here's the crazy thing. Kids call their own games at these tournaments. I'm mostly a scarecrow is how it was described to me to get me to do the job. Right. So I stand there, and the kids make better calls when I'm hanging around.
That's interesting.
So, yeah. You're just sort of there to make them. Ultimately, I can make decisions if there's something that's egregious. And I love tennis. I've been getting into it and playing a bunch, so it's kind of fun to be around it and just see how few of them I could beat.
And I've been told that before the observational judge program, it was a big problem that kids were getting carried away by crows. Is that true?
It is. It's just simply I wouldn't know. There's not a lot going on up here, but there is full of hay. Full of hay. If you watch these tennis tournaments, they actually sync up with Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd the entire tennis tournament, because it's just me saying time out loud.
Wow. Okay. So better than you. These kids are better than you. How good are these kids?
Well, they're better than you would have. These kids are unhealthy relationship with their parents good at tennis. I would say that's the easiest way I can describe it. It's like it is that X where the graph where their points, one is they're going exact opposite down to the right and up to the right. You're just like, that's the kid's ability at tennis. Except there's always, and I did this for 2 days for like 6 hours a day. There's always an exception, and there's always just like one kid who's just super chill and is really, really like the second best player, but seems to care the least.
Right. Yeah.
And like everything.
Yeah. That reminds me of this weird anecdote that the more I think about it, the more it seems insanely untrue. But there is this one cow that, I don't know, it had like a mutation. It was like a unicorn mutation. So instead of having 2 horns out at the side, it had a horde coming out of the forehead. And cows use horns in part to like battle each other, to like assert dominance and stuff. And so this unicorn cow is way better at that, because having like a rhino horn is definitely a better adaptation.
Yeah, it's almost cheating if they knew the concept.
Yeah. And so this cow was alleged, and I guess who knows, is a sample size of 1. This cow was alleged to have like big dick energy as a result, like super chillax, not worried about it. Because, he didn't have to like freak out about like, oh, I have to go to the side to like hook you with my horn. He's just like, no, I'm dominating everyone. So I'm going to be chill. I'm going to be a chill guy. Not going to worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think if one cow evolved a gun on its head, evolution would move really quick. Do you know what I mean? It would be like, oh, this is like one of those leaps that made the X-Men. Like this is like people will be like, we're noticing a pattern, even though the cow doesn't know the why, it certainly knows the how.
Yeah, and if a person evolved a gun in their forehead, that would just be the X-Men.
Yeah, it definitely would be there. At least America's Got Talent.
Definitely America. That's not like a Britain's Got Talent sort of adaptation.
It's very funny that we went with the word talent as well. So Britain was like, we've got talent, and America's like, well, there's a lot of words we could put in here. I wouldn't say talent forward, but I guess we'll just go ahead and see what we have.
Yeah. Oh man. So these kids, they're playing tennis.
They're playing it.
They have an unhealthy relationship with their parents and their sport and validation and stuff, or vicarious. You know, what is that? Go ahead.
Like them living vicariously through them.
Vicarious is a word that's only ever used in that exact sentence. Have you noticed that? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anyone who like eats vicariously through lettuce.
Yeah,
or something like that.
No one even lives vicariously. End of sentence. That's not
right.
Like vicariously has to be through someone else. Very strange. Do you have any strange relationship with sports and or your parents?
Not particularly. I for what I do, I think I swam and played water polo, and that was like a big part of my life. I was very good. It's like I like a state champion, All-American swimmer in high school.
Wow.
And I hated it, but it wasn't my parents' fault. It just couldn't have felt more pointless to just start and end in the same spot but be tired.
Yeah.
I felt like nothing. I loved water polo. I was like kind of oddly violent water sport. It felt like they stopped writing the rules because they had to play it, where they were just like they were like and they're like it's like we have an hour to develop the game, and they're like, you have to play now. And they're like, we haven't developed any rules about if you're allowed to kill someone.
Yeah, we just decided there was a nets, and now we're starting.
Yeah, they're like we had soccer and we had water, and in most of the cold countries are somehow good at it. And then they're like, okay, can you stab each other? And they're like, we had to get the game going. We only had the pool for 2 hours, and we spent an hour on rules.
Yeah, this is a perfect segue into the question I wanted to ask. So, toenails, you grow them out?
No, not even for water polo. It felt like a moral failure.
Yeah. That's fair. That was like a big thing. I knew a lot of water polo kids. I was never in water polo, but I knew a lot of swim and water polo kids, and that was like a big topic. Is like we gotta be growing our raptor talons out to do underwater fucking chicken fighting.
I got what I would consider to be probably hundreds of diseased scratches, like scratches where if a Pokemon got it, your screen would go while you're walking around to try and get somewhere. And I just always felt, I think I felt more uncomfortable. I don't like having long nails, but I think I felt uncomfortable often wearing sandals to school and stuff, because practice was before and after school. If I was also like my toes were weird.
Yeah, it's the only sport that's ever caused athlete's leg. You have athlete's thigh. Yeah,
I have like broken my nose from it before.
Headbutt?
What's up?
Headbutt? Or
I thought you said bug bite. I was like, yeah, it was brutal. I think it was this. I had a circadian rhythm to it. It was like a elbow.
Okay. Yeah. That'll break a nose for sure. That's crazy, man. Water polo. Okay. So we gotta make good on looping Kevin into this. Kevin, weird relationship with your parents and or sports?
So I was the total nerd in school. Like I was so like not into sports. I had no idea what was going on. For some reason, like 6 or 7-year-old me decided I wanted to play soccer, though, for some reason. And even my parents were like, oh, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
But I did it for like 5 games. And like, I don't know, like little me of that age, at the end of the game, my first question always was who won. Like that's how detached from the sport I was, that I didn't even know if we were scoring or winning or anything.
Yeah, you're one of the 22 people who should know that.
Yeah. Probably yes. So I didn't last long, and like it actually was to the point like the coach even maybe suggested that soccer was not for me. So that was my only involvement really with
that rocks
sports as a child. Yes.
You're like 5 and your coach is like, look, kid, you suck. You have no potential.
Yes.
We famously plateau around 6, so it was nice of him to get you out of there early.
It saved me like a detour into professional sports. I think that I wasn't going to excel in. So I appreciate.
Would have ended here needless, but I mean, I think I will take this away from the kids with tennis is I do think kids and parents' toxic relationship relative to sports and activities feels lower than what it did in my childhood and feels lower than ever depicted in a sitcom.
Yeah.
I felt actually pretty nice about how often parents were reaffirming and in a good place with them. I think that there is a healthier and healthier. Obviously, this is just painting with a wide brush, but I felt pleasantly surprised by how few conflict between parent and child happened, whereas mostly child having conflict within themselves and a parent having a good position to help them feel better. I was like kind of blown away.
So that's what you're observing now, or?
Yes, that's like my biggest takeaway is a parent-kid sport relationship now feels infinitely better than it did when I was younger and infinitely better than I think the common way people assume it is based on TV and movies.
Yeah, I definitely think that we've come a long way. I'm sure there's ways that modern parents are fucking up their kids or whatever. But one of my like side rants or whatever is that I don't think people really respect enough that we're living in like what you might call the dawn of the age of psychology. Like we actually understand brains and childhood development in a way that like we never understood before. And like, you don't even really think about it, but hypothetically, that is like completely different than thousands of years of human development, you know, and it's just happening now in our lifetimes.
Yeah, we're just on the cusp of most people even believing that's real since it's been discovered, or like giving any sort of weight or because we may have known these things 80 years ago, but who's the first dad who believed in it? Like It was like it took a long time to come around to general, what do you call, like implementing of the practice. Instead, we probably just bullied the people who came up with it or discovered it.
Right, exactly. And then for a long time, it was like, yeah, we call it psychology, but really it's about how everyone wishes they had a penis or something, you know, and it's like, well, that's not super useful.
Yeah, I don't really know how to implement that on the tennis court. But, I'll try.
We got to work that in there. Well, okay. One thing we like to talk about on the podcast is food. You like food? You eat food? You
Love
eat
it.
food today?
What did I eat today? I had Waba Grill today, provided by the people putting on the tennis tournament. I had a turkey sandwich after that with some potato chips. That's what I've had today.
Okay, Waba Grill. Chicken, I suppose.
Like a barbecue chicken rice bowl thing.
I don't
kind of those places.
Sauce. Go ahead.
It's those places that you feel like there used to be more of. Mm-hmm. It just felt like we used to be flush with, this is $11.50 and it's all in one package.
Yeah.
And now this, I had to go all the way. I didn't go there for this. I had to go all the way to Azusa for Waba Grill. I had to drive 40 miles for the closest WG. You just used to feel like that was like, I call it Simtown culture, where you're like, there's this that makes this, and then there's the salad store, and then there's the burger store, and it's just a line of things. That's what it still feels like out there.
Yeah. Azusa, I think my brother went to school there. Anyway, Waba Grill, or as we call it to save time, WG, an abbreviation.
Somehow more syllables.
Yes, takes more syllables to say than Waba Grill. But when you're that in deep, you gotta. Yeah,
that could be why the WGA strike took so long. If they just called it the Writers Guild of America strike, they would have been in and out of there a lot faster with all those less syllables.
Yeah, they're like saying the name, and by the end of the time, it's like, yeah, we got to break for lunch. Do negotiations break for lunch?
Yeah, they go to Waba Grill.
Yeah. That was like, they're like, there's like, and of course we got to go to Waba Grill. And Waba Grill is like in the room for some reason. They're like, yes.
I think they call it interior Waba Grill.
Do you write comedy? I mean, I guess as you're part of your podcast, you write a lot of comedic ideas, or do you write it? Or
I write some of the scripts. I have. Yeah. So the premise is I have people rewrite famous movies they've never seen, and then we read the script. So you write like a 5 or 6 page script of what you figure a movie probably is or was or you wished it could be. I've written a few dozen of them. I try and go on frequently enough that it doesn't just seem like all of the labor is for other people. And then I write a bunch of like weird movie based, games like whatever, like to play, to fill in the time. Because 5 or 6 page script really isn't an hour, despite what I wish. And yeah, you know, I write comedy in my own time and stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, but not. Do you write scripts or anything outside of that, or is it?
I have some that I've done. I have my stand up, and it's more scripted now than it's ever been, just because I have like sort of this 1 hour that I've really worked on that's taken up all my time. I have written some scripts and stuff, and a lot of the writing I've been hired to do is sort of because of my podcast and other stuff I've done. I used to run like a compliment contest called Bow Straddle, or it's just nice roasting, and I
Bow Straddle.
Yeah, and it would just be like head-to-head compliment contest, and I've been hired like to do a lot of like, I guess, conceptual game-esque segment writing. So we have a show about what's this for sports, what's this for this, you know, like how do we apply kind of this sort of stuff to other sort of like I don't know what you describe, concept segmented panel-y type of stuff, you know.
Yeah. That's interesting. We were talking before, I think we were at the studio, and we were talking about how I'm really jealous of anyone who can come up with segment ideas. That definitely seems like a skill of yours.
It is somehow what clicks in the brain in the right way, you know, however the square peg goes in the square hole. For me, it is just like, oh yeah, this could be gamified in this way right here. And I probably have a few dozen on the podcast that we've rotated throughout the years.
Yeah, that's like an important part of podcast design, I think, is segment coming up with. Great job. And also just speaking English is an important skill.
I think segment coming up with is the name of a segment, but and you know, it's probably pretty self-explanatory what you do in that segment.
Yeah.
But it is something to just sort of like fill time, and then plug and play is a lot easier to me once I have the bones of a thing.
Well, that's the thing, is structure makes it so easy to like fill in, you know, but it's creating the structure that's hard. But I think that's I think going to be our segment, is segment come up with. It's where, you know, we come up with, or the guest brings a segment that they've never heard of, or, you know, never actually seen how they play it, and then we come up with what that segment actually is based on the name alone.
I like that. Just bring the name.
Yeah.
Here's my name is For Once and For All, and then we have to come up with what the segment for whatever For Once and For All is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so For Once and For All, Kevin, what is that segment?
You immediately turn the segment and just making Kevin come up with it.
I can't come up with
every week, every single week. You just say
we have to decide something that we're going to do. Like, I'm going to do this once, but then for every subsequent podcast, Spencer has to do it then. So For Once and For All. So then, you know, I decide something I have to be willing to do at least once, but then Spencer has to do it every day, or maybe vice versa. You know, like I want to dare Spencer to do something, but then that means I have to do that whenever Spencer asks for it in the future.
All I can think of is just like, I'm going to eat shit. I'm going to eat a giant freaking bug or whatever, you know.
All right, you should be the For Once person.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll like that rather than committing to the For All.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to do one push-up, and Kevin will always have to do push-ups.
The wrinkle would be it's FOUR.
Wait, which four? Is the first For Once or the For All?
The second one.
Okay, yeah. For Once and
You said that like there was a more logical one for it to be. Like, oh yes, the second one, of course. We've ironed this out.
I do think that makes a lot more sense. I can't explain why the inner workings of my brain are
That's how I describe listening to music to people. I don't know, it just makes sense. I don't really know why I like any of it.
Yeah. I when I talk to people about music, I'm not super into music, but I talk about how I like weird noises, and so I'm attracted to music that just has more weird noises. I don't dislike guitar, but guitar, it mostly sounds like a guitar, you know, and that I just want more weirder noises than that.
And I hate telling just a story about a stand-up show. I've opened for bands for a long time, so I have tons of like doing music at like doing stand-up at like Red Rocks or like all these like big giant venues, because the band is much bigger than I am. Mm-hmm. But I did one time have to open for a plant, not Robert if we're talking about guitar, but like an actual like at a house show in Brooklyn. And these people liked weird noises. This is what made me think of it. They were like, hey, so you're going to go up, you're going to do your jokes, and then you're going to introduce and it had a name. I don't remember what the name was, Colby or something. And Colby was a houseplant that they had mic'd up with some sort of like nodes.
Okay, yeah.
To pulse out music.
Right, yeah.
Which I find to be an interesting concept.
Definitely.
But more of a at home and then release type of situation.
Right, yeah. You want to edit it a little bit.
We all had to watch him node up Colby and and then Colby just, the thing about the plant is short term, they're not changing much. Like in 15 minutes, a plant is pretty close to what it was 15 minutes ago. And what changes this is its growth. So it's like slower pain. So we just listened to 2 notes for 15 minutes and then I had to go back up. And then I tried to riff about the plant and it was like the plant knew. People were so mad.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, that's so funny. It's like, you want to riff about how crazy something is. It's like, fuck you. We love Colby.
Yeah. We don't know you.
Yeah.
he ferned his place in our living room.
He burned his way into our hearts.
Someone said to me, he lives here about Colby. And I was like, I hope so. Yeah. I certainly hope he didn't get booked and have to take the G train.
That fucking rocks, dude. And yeah, I don't know. Plants. What are you gonna do? I do want to say note up Colby is like a very cool 3-letter or 3-word phrase.
Yeah,
note up Colby.
Yeah.
Okay, so never seen it. Do you ever do stuff that you've never seen on the show?
Yes. Maybe 20, 25 times I've done it. I think most recently maybe the Goonies. Or last year I wrote the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Kansas City Chiefs based Hallmark movie. At one point, just because I'm from Kansas City, and so for a holiday episode I rewrote that. But I haven't seen the Goonies. I haven't seen The Godfather. I haven't seen. There's really just so many. And then I'm kind of late to a lot. I just watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit for the first time like last week.
Wow.
It like made me cry.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
I watched that as a kid, and the scene where the judge kills the shoe or whatever terrified me.
So scary. I could not believe how scary it still was, and also scary in the way that where you watch it, you're like, all of my friends saw this when they were kids, and this would be. Yeah. It's particularly kid scary.
Yeah, that's the thing. Back in the day, traumatizing kids was just part of what film and television were meant to do.
It's like what parents liked about kids' movies then, where parents now like the Pixar stuff about kids' movies, where they make a joke about a receding hairline or something, and they're like, "This movie's good for the dads and moms too." It used to be like, it'll make your kid quiet for a week.
The only noise you'll hear is them crying every night.
Right? Do you have shoes at home?
Yeah.
Does your kid not play water polo? If so, this one's really going to scare him.
Yeah, man. Okay, so sidebar. Not to be the old man that I'm rapidly becoming or whatever, who's like railing about the kids on TikTok or something. But you seen this movie Hoppers? You hear about this movie Hoppers?
I've seen the posters.
Hey, let's never seen it. But so it's about it's Avatar, but with beavers, and I think there's some sort of environmental situation, like, I don't know, rich people are trying to. Am I going to have to do a spoilers for Hoppers to complete this? Spoilers for Hoppers. Cut ahead 2 minutes. I think I can knock this out in. But the rich people are trying to destroy a dam or a natural habitat or something, and then they're trying to stop the rich people. The spoiler here is that it turns out the rich people are somehow being machinated by monarch butterflies, and the TikTok was being like, I don't think this is good for kids to see monarch butterflies as the enemy. Like, I think people are going to start smashing butterflies because they saw this movie. And I was like, I mean, I know with Jaws, like, it led to a lot of like sharks being killed, but like, I don't think, first of all, I don't think that's going to happen. But more than that, I don't think you should be thinking like that. Like, I don't think your brain should be in that space for a billion reasons. Like, outside of this context, that can't be good for society, for you to have this on your mind. And everybody in the comments was like, it's crazy. And then other people were being like, I don't know. They were talking about how like monarchy is like better than capitalism, and it's like everybody's brain is fucking destroyed.
Is it a monarch butterfly monarchy type of allegory? It's not even allegory. It's 98% the same word.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. It's like, oh yeah, it's some overclass that's manipulating everything, even people with money, and it's like that is what's happening. Like. I don't know. And I just more to the point. I just don't imagine like a 6-year-old being like, smash, we got to do this to help the beavers. Like, I just don't see it. I don't know.
When I was growing up, beavers were angry. That was the type there was.
And they ate candy bars that were made out of the sap in a log.
Those looked good. That made me want to eat the inside of a log. It actually tried bone marrow for the first time as an adult because of angry beavers looking situation with that. But
okay, so maybe the monarch's got to watch it. Actually,
I'm kind of with you. I mean, sure, we killed more sharks after Jaws, but also there were 7 things then. So I think it was a little bit. That was the 8th thing was that sharks were bad, and so it was just hard. People ran out of the movie theater when the train came at the screen. That doesn't mean we haven't been able to fix that sort of fear. Also, the bad guy in movies has been people forever, right. And we have, capitalism's been the bad guy in the last 62 Best Picture winners that didn't involve one race driving the other around. And aside from those, somehow 2 movies that won Best Picture, capitalism's been the bad guy, and no one seemed to really smash it like a butterfly.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, we let it just go continue to grow. I was about to say a butterfly would go in a cocoon, but that's like I think Butterfree the end of it.
Mm-hmm, that's true. Butterfree. That episode of Pokemon was so sad. He lets the Butterfree go. You ever watch Pokemon? Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazily probably one of 9 shows I've seen all the way through.
That rocks. That fucking rocks. Okay, so when'd you get your start in stand-up? How did that pop off for you?
I started doing in college. I joined an improv team. I actually kind of went to an audition to support my friend who was auditioning, and then they signed me up as a prank. And it is a very funny prank to sign someone up who doesn't know what's going on. It was like a Who's Line, short form improv.
Oh, that's cool. That's doable, I think.
I mean, it's where I found out that's where the square peg, square hole in my brain is, was just make a pun, a lot of pun sort of, or the game of an improv scene, but not needing to go on long enough to care about the other person in it, like that kind of thing. And that really, so I got on the team and they didn't. And
oh, wow.
There was a comedy, I liked it, and there's a comedy club in town. And so I sort of started doing a show started. It wasn't really an open mic, but it was I didn't really know. There's just one show on Tuesdays, and I started working as a reservationist at a comedy club, but then I got to host the shows, but I couldn't do jokes. And so it just sort of slowly turned into trying to do that, do stand up. And then started, that would 2009, 10, I suppose.
Yeah. So, okay. So that is interesting that you made it on the team and your friend that wanted to do it didn't. What was that like? Was that awkward? Was it funny?
I think they pretty quickly moved on. I think they just wanted to do something is kind of the vibe that I got. And they liked it because they'd been to the shows. They were a year older than me, so they'd spent a year going and seeing the shows. It was every Wednesday, and they liked it. And so they were like, "I'm going to try for the thing." And then I think they're just kind of okay, maybe this isn't my thing. I just can't fathom having a brain that works like that, where you really want something, and then when it doesn't work out, you're like, I guess it wasn't mine. I guess I'll move on and find my thing. You know what I mean? I'd be like, how do I shove my life in to make that my thing?
Yeah, at least try a second time or something, I mean,
I know. And they were just fine with it. And they'd come to show sometimes. We're still friends. And, it's just they like to be like, hey, you're the reason, I started this. And that's why you started this. And I don't know if they mean that in a positive or negative sort of claim. But then I lived in Chicago briefly, New York for a while, and then here for a while as well.
Yeah. So, okay. So slow down, please.
Yeah.
But okay, no, but so you were on an improv team. Did you guys do improv shows before you started doing stand up?
A lot. I did that for a couple years before I ever did stand up, and a funny comedian named Dan Friesen, who I think lives in Chicago and has maybe the world's preeminent anti-Alex Jones podcast.
Knowledge Fight? Oh, my friend was just telling me about Knowledge Fight.
Yes, and I'm happy. Yeah, that Dan. He started the comedy show that I first did stand-up at, and I would do it every week. He said I could keep doing it every week as long as I wrote new stuff. And so for like 2 or 3 years, I just wrote 8 new minutes a week.
Wow. How did you do that? I guess you were younger.
Yeah, I mean, I just would kind of come up with a couple ideas and riff on it, and maybe it'd be 6, and maybe it'd be 10, and sometimes you could elaborate on something from a different week, and I just found like I could, I don't know, it came really easily, just being able to go up with 10 words and find the 6 minutes out of it, and most of it, it's not like gold, but it got me comfortable on stage alone.
Yeah, that seems like an impressive talent to be able to pull that stuff together. And obviously you're very quick. But okay, so sorry, just to diverge into Knowledge Fight. Can you tell, like, is Knowledge Fight, if you had to pitch Knowledge Fight, can you describe it to me? I'm sorry. I know
probably could not. I only know it as Dan's Alex Jones podcast, and Dan and I.
Is he being Alex Jones?
I don't know. Okay. I really couldn't give you. I love him to death. We don't really see each other ever or talk all that much, and I don't think he's doing stand up too much anymore. But I don't know. Mm-hmm. Have like a special place for him, in my heart. But I really, all I know is that he had a podcast before I ever knew what a podcast was, in like 2008 in college. Yeah. He was like, it was so he had to. He really had it was so cool to see someone with a board and mics and all the stuff. And what is a feed? You know what I mean? Like all this, right, how does he end up on iTunes? Yeah. What? And that was cool. And Dan has always been really good at the like radio and whatever iteration of radio there is. And it was just kind of crazy to me that this took off. I mean, that's not crazy, but of all the things he's done, this is it's humongous.
Yeah, I'm Googling around. It looks like it's like analyzing Alex Jones' stuff. I don't know. It's one idea I've had that I was kicking around for a while is the idea of doing kind of like a parody of an InfoWars style show where you just have people coming on as characters that are just promoting or pitching like some fucking insanity, being like, rocks have they're full of protein. The government doesn't want you to know this. That's why I grind rocks on my Brain Max pill steez, or whatever.
Yeah. I was so let down and disappointed by that Jordan Klepper show that I thought would be a fake InfoWars and called itself like the basement grift. It had something like, and then just ended up being another daily show. And I was like, well, I don't think we need another thing like this. And it went away. But I think that it would be very fun. I've also find the ad pitches to be the funniest juxtaposition part of those like wild alt-right type of shows.
Yeah. It's interesting because they're essentially selling the same products as Gwyneth Paltrow is, but yes. like literally the same powders, just in a different brand.
It is all some sort of like snake oil situation. And it's to improve, gender affirming improvements of some kind.
Yeah, exactly. So I was Googling and not paying attention, but you used to live in Missouri, right?
From Missouri, yeah, I grew up in Missouri.
And then you started stand up in
I guess Missouri, and then
then
lived in Chicago. But was only there about a year. I lived with Dan there, actually.
Okay.
And then moved to New York after that.
Okay. So New York is an interesting place to do comedy, right? Like it seems like it's easy to get to shows and stuff, compared to LA.
There's so much
something
going on.
Yeah.
For all good and bad. There is it seems like I live there at the right time in my life energy wise, and capacity for pain and failure, both like emotional and physical wise, where now if I'm there for shows or whatever, exhausted and it just is not how I like to be anymore. But yeah, it was really, really, really good place to fail anonymously a lot, which I find to be important.
Definitely. Well, that's the thing is I feel like I'm sure it's more just perception than anything else, but I feel like in LA, it seems like it would be scarier to fail at doing comedy than in New York somehow. Does that make sense?
It is. It just sort of, it does seem like people you might brush with while you're bad at it could remember you as bad and then become the CEO of Netflix. Or like some sort of gate you may want unkept at some point, because first impressions are always so wild versus like in New York, you're just, you know, everyone is just running a different bar with a weird venue crammed in the back. And I know from what I've heard, and a lot of that has changed, and you know, I might not be the first person to notice that the pandemic changed the world fundamentally.
Wait.
Sorry, you're right. Plandemic. And
what?
It is crazy now. And so there just seems to be a lot less of that stuff. I find now there actually seems to be more of that stuff in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm not sure what it is, or if people, I mean, our mutually utilized studio space. I don't know if you talk about that.
Should we talk about that? I was thinking about trying to talk about that. It seems like, I don't know that we're doing promotion per se, but it seems like it could be cool to talk about.
I think I can through line us into a way where it's organic to talk about it. Because I find that it's one of so at Geeky Teas and Games, and once again, if I'm sorry, you know, I'm not trying to it's not really a spot to be blown up. It's a public place. It's one of the few places that feels like a lot of stuff used to feel for me, which is like, it's a big communal tabletop role-playing game, board game, play center, store, plus cat rescue.
And they also have an event space where they do like live events. People host events there.
Like a 80 to 90 person cedar school gymnasium type of thing.
It's a real community kind of center. Like it's a pillar of our community in Burbank for sure.
It is. I love Burbank so much. It has grown me so, and I think it is like, I hate the term. I don't hate the term third space. Well, but sometimes I feel like people. Yeah, I sometimes feel like people will grasp onto a term without actually utilizing it because they feel better about it. You know, it's like, I think I hear third space mostly by like Gen Z kids on the internet, where like, we need third space, and like, well, people used to just make those without consciously thinking like, I'm inventing a third space. To me now sounds like a Bushwick bar. Like the phrase has been used so much, it sounds like something like that. Yeah. But that's what Geeky Teas. There are people who just show up there alone and can find community and stuff to do.
Yeah.
And people.
It is like a classic third space from not even pre-pandemic, but like one of the reasons third space has fallen apart is because rents have gotten so high that you can't have a space that isn't constantly generating money. Otherwise, you'll lose your business. But
like year over year money improvement,
right? And it's the classic place that, you know, in the 90s, early 2000s would have been everywhere. You know, a fixture of the community. It's a really awesome place. And we've mostly just talked about Geeky Teas as a thing, but yeah, do you want to continue on?
Oh yeah, so all their gaming stuff, all this sort of stuff. So I really enjoy that it feels to me, and I'll get into the studio, but it feels to me like how a lot of stand-up shows used to feel, where I was like, on Mondays I could go here and see people even if I went alone. On Sundays I could go to this place and see comedians I know or friends or people I like, even if I showed up alone without planning ahead of time. And it feels like there's much less of that than there used to be, where you can just go to a place and there might be people that you want to be around that you haven't planned. Geeky Teas has this going on in an annex in a back area. This place is humongous. It's like 10,000 square feet. We have a little corner of it that we have built out a streaming podcast space, kind of built out pretty slowly over the past 5 months, maybe. And 6 months, and have been sort of like we've, you know, working on getting like some magic stuff in there, streaming stuff in there, overhead camera, 3-camera shoot, mic'd up, lab, you know, trying to really make this like cool little space that sort of feels like an extension of Geeky Teas that we can utilize for fun stuff.
Yeah, and like, it wouldn't be hard to make a podcast better than my podcast, That Happens. But if someone was looking for a space to do that, this would be a good space to do that.
Yeah, Never Seen It is in there, and it's really nice. And it's kind of plug and play, which I really like. That has just always been the hardest thing, is not having to show up to every room like it's a black box XYZ. It's a black box, bring every single part and piece. And I think because of COVID and making podcasts during it, we all sort of accumulated enough stuff to do that. And then the expectation kind of just became that we would. And it has been sort of hard, but it's been really nice to get this place back going, and fun working with you on it, and like brainstorming weird fixes for cool things and good ideas for this and that for what we'd like it to do.
Yeah, and you've really taken it on your back. I've been a little bit involved. Nolan has been a little bit involved, but I just honestly, for me, it's fun to just be involved, like, and not even like we're making it, but like just be on a text chain that like is not with one person. Like we could talk about something. It's
I
fun.
also like it. I think it is really nice. It's hard to not sort of just keep invoking terms like community and space and things like that, but just I like going in there. If I'm like writing or working on a comedy work, I can kind of go in there on a Saturday and it's like busy around. There's a guy making coffee, there's other people poking their heads in. It sort of feels like a town center, and the town center is full of the stuff that I like to do to take up my time.
Yeah, it's basically that whole area is Sesame Street. We kind of glazed by it or blew past it or whatever, but you said 10,000 feet. But like one of the things about Geeky Tees is it's big. Like hobby stores like that are not big. They have no fucking room. They're tiny.
Most of them feel like closets.
Yeah.
Of minifigures.
Yeah, gnomish closets.
Yeah, and this one is so large. It's so large, there's so much space. There's still rooms that are nothing, but there's 2 cats that have their own room. This is how big this place is. And it's in Burbank. They're so large that there's 2 cats that are house cats, because they're also a cat rescue, that have their own room. These 2 cats can just go back to this one area. And I had helped put on a stream for this guy Jason Charles Miller that was doing a Dungeons and Dragons stream for charity, and it was like for like 80 people there live and then on Twitch, and I got to see the whole place, going back and looking for all this sort of stuff. And it's like the people who run Geeky Tees are such fixtures of the Burbank community, and Burbank is where the people who make the physical stuff you see live. In the arts and movies and TV. I think if someone made a weird set piece, they probably live in Burbank. If someone made like a giant, everyone in Burbank probably knows Guillermo del Toro, and in just some capacity, or you're 2 degrees away from someone who has worked with him. It's, what I mean? It's like, it's such a thing. So she has had a lot of stuff donated to her, whether it was from like Rings of Power set, or this weird indie movie, or these like big fake fantasy trees. It's kind of where like the fantasy entertainment world lives.
Yeah, there's a Dalek in there. Yeah, Burbank is a place that a lot of animators and people in animation live there. It's cool. I really do love Burbank. But yeah,
if people are listening to this a couple years in the future, you Google what animation used to be, and you will.
I know, it sucks. I fucking hate it. Out of everything,
it'll be like moving memes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like AI before they added the A to it. But it's I don't know. It's sad. I always wanted. Yeah. The thing is, we grew up or whatever with so much animation, and I was like, animation is amazing. I like basically only watched cartoons and stuff, and that was like the thing. That was probably my favorite thing. Like I didn't really think of it as like a job you could get. Otherwise, I probably would have tried to go into it, because I did like art, but I was never that good at art. But if I thought like, oh, there could be a career in art through cartoons or whatever, I probably would have stuck with it. But animation was so cool, and like I just thought it's like this thing that was big and important, but it's like, really, I grew up in what was like the golden age of animation that has now since kind of died, and it's crazy to think that wasn't normal. Like that was the absolute apex in a lot of ways of the form, and it's probably not going to come back, at least anytime soon, but it's like, that wasn't normal.
It was a lot of when people, I mean, this comes up a lot, not to keep talking about Never Seen It, but it's a theme where people are like, how have you not seen? And I'm like, It's because I watched Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's because someone came into the studio the other day, just walking by. I had the door open and he was just roaming around and he walked in. He's like, "Oh, I run this and I do this." And I don't want to say who he is or blow him, but he's like, "I do this and this." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." And he goes, "Well, you know what really got me out here is I was one of the writers of Invader Zim." And I like almost wept.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe that's an important person that I never knew in my life. And there's so much to it. Like, we watched The Simpsons. I've never seen Seinfeld except like a couple episodes in a sketch class. I've never really watched a lot of the Cheers or sitcoms, but we would watch The Simpsons. But I think both of my parents thought they were the one that let us watch it, and like they, you know what I mean? They were like being the cool parent, and I also found a lot of importance in like honestly like stuff like Courage. It's such a crazy example to use, I think, but I find it to be in such an incredible show, such a high concept thing.
It's definitely like very prescient to today's standards of like, yeah, you just have to live, and there's like eldritch horrors literally everywhere, and they're always taking your Muriels and stuff, and you got to do what you can, but you're gonna get your eyeballs and your skeleton like sprayed out of your mouth or whatever.
Yeah.
But you just have to live with it. Like, there's nothing else for you. There's never any like good resolution other than like a nice hug at the end of an episode, you know, and then you get scared by an old man.
It really was. I mean, I found like Looney Tunes to still be something. Marvin the Martian, I feel like very emotionally like connected to. There's just so many things. It was such a big thing to me, all of the animation stuff. And it does feel now, you'll be like, someone's making a cartoon, and they're like, I have a lot of love for Bob's Burgers because of its positive sort of optimistic nature, and because it's a show. I mean, it's, you know, we talk about our friend who does work for it, but because it's a show that's been on for a long time, that is a sitcom that is animated, and you feel like that just feels like a rare thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's wholesome. It's wholesome without being like saccharine, or, you know, maybe it's a little, but yeah, it's a good show. Kevin, you watch any animated shows, cartoons?
I haven't lately. No, like I actually have queued up. I want to catch up. I haven't watched South Park in 10 years at least. I wanted to just binge and catch up on some of that because it looks like some of the new stuff they're doing is really good. And I kind of don't, I know there's not a lot of lore that you get behind on South Park, but I feel like stuff may have happened. So I kind of want to watch all of that. But other than
there kind of is a lot of lore on that show, though. Like, I don't think it's really center, but it definitely like it all builds and builds on itself for sure.
Yeah, and there's recurring characters and stuff that, you know, if you miss, it doesn't make sense and things like that. So
right.
I kind of want, I think that's probably gonna be the next thing I watch.
But what about as a kid? You watched any cartoons as a kid?
I did, but like there wasn't any one specific thing that I was like addicted to. I would literally just like turn the TV on. Just again, I grew up in Nebraska. We had 3 channels, you know, so I would watch whatever was on when it was available. You know, like I was really into like Transformers and stuff like that. But even like the goofy stuff like Captain Caveman and those kind of weird nonsense cartoons. You know, I kind of miss the Hanna-Barbera era of, you didn't even need a concept that made sense. You just needed to make the cartoon and somebody would watch it, you know?
Yeah, you just needed like a character design.
Yeah.
It was such a specific, Rocco's Modern Life is something I still think about a lot of jokes from in my actual life. Like I think all of the time about just weird specifics. I never quite got into Ren and Stimpy. I think it was just before and my sister didn't like any of them and she was older. So I think I sort of caught the tail end of that. Might appreciate it more now. But honestly, even through I've got a brother who's 10 years younger than me. So I watched SpongeBob with him.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is like the last great cartoon. Like, this is incredible.
Especially when it started, it was like a lot. It was like really transgressive in some weird ways, just by being bizarre. But Rocco's Modern Life, Chokey's Chicken, just like, that's just an amazing. It's like it's not really a pun, you know. It's like, what if you choked on chicken?
I know it's kind of making fun of all fast food, but none of them at the same time, and it just sort of sounds good to sound good.
Yeah, it's maybe a masturbation reference, but not even sure if that was the intent. But and then I don't know. There's this one bit of Rocco's Modern Life that like stuck with me for fucking ever. There's a part where like Ed Big Head is like really sick in bed, and Filbert and Heifer are like pranking him, and they like they make like a mannequin of Ed Bighead, like a puppet that they're using to like freak him out, kind of like, I don't know, like he's kind of in a fever dream state, and they're like trying to like kind of manipulate him almost. And its eyes are balloons, and they keep saying like wee wee. And there's this point at the end that like they're getting closer with it or something, and they're saying wee 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 over and over. And then they take a pin and they pop his eye balloons, and then everybody screams all at the same time. And that I feel like I've had dreams where I've seen that in my mind. I full disclosure, I used to sometimes do whippets, nitrous oxide containers, and a lot of times when I would kind of like brown out from the whippets, like one of my first like conscious thoughts or whatever was that scene of fucking Rocco's Modern Life. Just like everyone's screaming,
just the depth the whippet made to is exactly where that memory lives.
Yeah.
Because then it wears off and your brain is just right there.
Yeah. Don't do whippets, kids. I'm pretty sure.
It's like a liminal space in your brain that just houses one little cabinet that has that memory. Yeah. I think all the time about this Rocco's Modern Life joke. And it's just such a, it was like they were like the first, basically he was just on an airplane and he turned his cell phone on the airplane, and the plane nosedived immediately straight down to the earth. And then he turned his phone off and it stopped a foot before it and climbed back up. Mm-hmm. And that was just the joke. And I'm like, that's just the funniest way to tell that joke that I since have done stand up and hear 800 hack versions of why can't I use my phone on a plane type of thing.
And I do believe that a lot of people internalize that specific joke from Rocco's Modern Life, and definitely believe like that probably is kind of what happens. Like it probably is that serious. And I think like people taking it so seriously for like a couple years or whatever is kind of what started the backlash that creates all those hack jokes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. What else? Apple Store. You used to work at the Apple Store. Which Apple Store did you work at, or where was it?
I worked at R095, the Fifth Avenue Apple Store, the Cube, they call it. I wish that I could forget the number of the store, but I simply can't.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I think we were R131. I can't. I have forgot. But how long did you work there? You probably worked there longer than me.
I worked for Apple in college as sort of like a campus rep, you know, but mostly that was like hooking projector adapters up. And then I started working there in Chicago in Naperville and Lincoln Park stores. The Lincoln Park store is new when I worked there, and then I moved to New York and started working. So it's like 2009 to 2015 or 16.
Mm. And you were a genius, right? Did you do other stuff?
I started as a family room specialist and then genius.
Man,
yeah.
So that was simpler. Like all that stuff, like a family room specialist had to do less back in those days, right? Were people still like really fumbling and not knowing how to do it, or do you feel like you were pretty good at like explaining the stuff?
I felt like I got pretty good at it. I think when I was there at the point when the phone and the iPad surpassed the computer, and that is sort of when the job itself kind of fundamentally changed. And then I was there at the point where the phone was so prevalent that you just sort of became a swap out workflow or that sort of thing. So the computers just were getting a smaller and smaller piece of the attention pie. Every year I was there, I was just getting a little bit smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. But I think I kind of got to the end of my time as a family room specialist and beginning of my time as a genius was it's kind of like at that point I graduated from not just swapping out earbuds every day.
Right. So, okay, actually, we should probably, for the folks at home, do you want to describe what a family room specialist did at Apple?
No, yeah. I let them hear these insane words. They're like, I know these words, but the order is
no,
dumb.
They get it. Yeah, I specialize in the family room. At
The
Apple.
family room is an area, basically the tech area of an Apple store. They would call the family room. The red zone is where you would sell things, and the family room is like where the Genius Bar is. It's insane. It sounds like I'm doing those videos where people are like, "Here's what English sounds like to people who don't speak English," and I'm like, "Family room specialist is red zone of Genius Bar," and so the family room person kind of would check you in for your appointment when you go to an Apple store, or also kind of be the person who worked on if it's your headphones or if it's your charger. And then slowly they became also the person who would be like, if it's your phone, if it's a small phone issue, maybe not a physical phone issue, but it's slow or the camera won't launch or something like that. And whereas the Genius is like my computer or hardware, technical type of thing. So would also do the phones and the headphones and stuff when it's not busy. But yeah.
So wait, what was the position where you like taught the weird little classes? That was
creatives. That would be the creative.
Okay.
Yeah. Although sometimes a family room specialist could also teach class. You could have it's so funny. You're like, it's like college. You're like, I think I'm majoring in becoming a creative, but they would, if you were interested in some stuff, they would let you teach the classes. You just had to take the courses and that sort of thing. And the store I worked at was so big. It was, the good part was if you wanted to do stuff like that, there were 1,000 employees, like a legitimate.
Wow.
And so that you'd get paid to take training on how to use Final Cut Pro or whatever and go teach someone how to use it.
Yeah, I don't know if they're still like that with the economy, how it is, but that was one of the cool things of working at Apple is it felt like they actually had enough employees. Like everywhere is like underemploying everyone everywhere now, and it's like that was not a problem. It's like we actually had the people
pretty
to do
well.
it. Yeah.
I at some point while I worked there, the New York Times article came out about how overly abused and underpaid Apple's retail employees were relative to their corporate staff, which is a lot of people relative to Tim Cook were or like Steve Jobs at the time were making less. I made a lot less than him. I looked it up.
Right.
And he so then we got a crazy pay bump that, according to Apple, was completely unrelated to the article. But by the time I finished working there, it was like $31 an hour in like 2015 as part-time and full benefits. And it was about the best job I could pursue comedy while having.
Yeah. I mean, working at the Apple store is what freed me up from my other job to go do Harmontown. And so same thing. But
Flexible schedule.
They want the managers actually cared about you. They wanted you to succeed. Harmontown, we went on tour and I had to ask my boss if I could. And my boss is like, that's not going to be easy for us, but clearly this is going to be a very good thing for you. And we want to support that. They said that it's like, I care about you as a person who should succeed in life. That's like, just saying that out loud is like, I don't think anyone, like how many people have ever worked for anyone who's not only just entertained that concept, but has said that out loud to you at work, that's insane. And it shouldn't.
No, it sounds like something that you would sigh at in Severance. Like at this point, it sounds like it's something someone would say and you'd be like, I wish they toned the satirical rhetoric back a little bit. It's too on the nose.
Yeah, man. But, we talked about the Apple training being really important and helpful to us. The Apple steps of service. And, there's this concept called assuming positive intent, which I think is like something that probably anyone who's ever online, let alone very online people should understand, which is, if you can imagine an interpretation of a situation that assumes positive intent on the behalf of someone who, by all accounts, bit a hole in their keyboard and is trying to tell you that they deserve an entire Mac Pro because they bit a hole in their $70 keyboard, it's like, well, maybe they come from a mystical land where this is good to do, and just like it's really about creating your own sanity under pressure, but it's like it's just there's so much that we learned that's just good. I don't know. Is there anything in that realm that you think is relevant to bring up on a podcast?
I take that away all of the time. We can almost full circle this entire thing where today, talking to kids who are having a issue really these kids have almost no issue in tennis that in the tennis tournament that I needed to involve myself in, other than just sort of lingering and saying, are we all right? But there's a big disagreement. I got called over for this thing, and these kids were arguing, and it just turns out it's just two quiet kids, so a shot would be out and one of the kids would be like, out. But the other kid wouldn't be able to hear it, so then they think it's in. So then it just becomes but they're both quiet. Every single kid that had conflict with another one, I'm like, that should be your best fucking friend. They're exactly like you. You're both like, you have the same bag. So I went over, and Apple had this thing where it's like acknowledge, align, and assure, which almost sounds like manipulation, to like a calm, diffusing thing where you sort of like acknowledge that someone is having an issue. You kind of align yourself with them in a way that you can, that's not just saying yes, like in a way that's specific, and then you assure them that you're going to resolve the problem.
So for the kids, it's like, man, you guys are really having a hard time, and I understand what that's like, and I want to be here to resolve this conflict. I don't want you guys to have a problem. I don't think you want to have a problem. It's really tough to have a problem, and so what I will do is I will, whatever. So like,
it was exactly as specific. Like, and it's so funny because sometimes I used to think like attributing a name to the steps of the ways I would sort of talk to people to diffuse situations made it cheating to diffuse the situation because I knew why I was doing it. But in reality, it's not like I didn't believe what I was saying. It's not like I was lying. So I just tell the kids, I'm like, it's frustrating when you can't hear a call because you keep playing and then everything gets slowed down and confused. I understand what you're saying. If I'm having communication issues, it makes staying in my own head to play tennis harder. And so what can't we just say, let's call the calls how we wish they would be called for us, which would be loudly rather than a hand gesture or just sort of quietly. And you do this thing, and I'm like, I'm doing this today, and it works. And it's not like I said, it's not disingenuine to know sort of good ways to communicate with people you're not familiar with.
Yeah, for sure. It was like so helpful. Like it helped me diffuse family situations, with my shitty family and stuff. And it's just really valuable. I think they would sue you if you tried to like write a book on those kinds of topics and stuff. But like someone absolutely should just write a book about that stuff because and actually cut this out of the podcast, Kevin. I think I'm going to try and write that book. I think it could be a huge sale. But it's like, it's been so helpful because like, and maybe Apple taught me this too or whatever, but I do think the vast majority of issues that people have, interpersonal conflicts, come from miscommunication. And a big part of the miscommunication is someone doesn't feel heard or validated in their issue. And once they really feel heard and validated, they tune down a lot of their defenses, and you cannot give them a free Mac Pro or whatever, because they're just a bit calm because there's stuff you can do, and there's stuff you can't. Setting expectations. That's a thing that you hear all the time now, but I never heard that before fucking Apple. They're like, so what we're going to do is we're going to set the expectation for the customer, this, blah, that, and setting expectations is so huge for communicating. But yeah,
it was also what led to maybe the greatest 2 weeks of me as a human being in my life, where I got to, when I put in my 2 weeks at Apple, because Apple does a thing, setting expectations there is a capital S, a capital E. So if I tell you this is going to be free, and then you come back to pick it up, no matter what, if I'm not helping you, the person who you're picking it up from will give it to you for free because you've had this expectation set. They're not going to unset it. Anyways, I gave away everything for free for my last 2 weeks that I worked at Apple. And I would just tell people, I'm like, I'm leaving here and this is going to be picked up after I've left here. And I'm going to put in the notes that it's free and they will give it to you for free because Apple's corporate policy is that if someone says XYZ, they will either give it to you at that or better. They will never degrade your. So I was just like, this is free. Everything's free. Everyone I helped was free who would come pick their thing up after I left.
That's so good. That rocks.
Because also at the same time, Apple has infinity money and it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And it's just as long as the manager signs off, and the manager will give you a free Mac Pro sometimes, because you just have to, I don't know if they still do that, but for a time it's like you just have to commit to being angry for long enough. And
we were so busy that it was worth $1,300 for them to get you out of the store because that's how expensive it was to be open.
Yeah.
They're like, it's if he's here an hour, he's costing us more than the computer.
Definitely. It's what a company, huh? But, they're still just that good, and they haven't declined They still have vision.
It has been a stark adjustment of my time there, feeling like I was there sort of at the what's the Sopranos thing? You ever feel like you're getting in at the end of a good thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can see where I'm becoming. If a robot who knew a workflow could feign empathy, I would have been gone sooner, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And now a robot can, you know, they're that's like the thing they're best at is feigning empathy these days.
Yeah. It's putting the M dash and empathy both start with the M, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So that is our show, I guess. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to plug or any final thoughts?
Listen and never seen it. If you have or have not watched movies, which is a lot of people. If you have, I have a weird brain disease that I do a lot of comedy about. So find me on Instagram if you want to see stuff about that. It's called.
We didn't even get
Trigeminal
around. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's called trigeminal neuralgia. I'm at Kyle Ayers most places. I got plenty of stuff about it there. I'm not going anywhere. So if you're into weird jokes about like dark stuff, that's kind of where I'm living at with that. Yeah,
we never even got around to talking about that, but that's a really interesting thing.
Who are you? Me and my family all of these years? They've never asked. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that sucks. It doesn't surprise me on some level, but it sucks. But yeah, I've been dealing with a little bit of chronic kind of neck and back pain lately. It's very mild, but it makes me want to like slice my skin off my body. It's awful to live with.
Yeah,
pain.
we all very intimately live inside of our own husk, and if there's any change, it is dire and huge, no matter how little it is, because it's the thing you're most intimately familiar with.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, maybe we can talk about that later. It's interesting. I always have guests on, and then like we end up devoting the least amount of time to the thing like I'm most interested in talking about somehow.
I almost signed off with, and I'm dying tonight. So, and I'm dying and I'm dead, and I'm actually hooked up with those plant nodes from Colby. So all of this is the noise that the houseplant behind me is making.
Hey man, Colby lives here.
Dude. I think I would still recognize that person if I saw them like walking by, not even in a situation with mutual friends, and I don't know their name. I would still recognize the person who defended the plant.
Yeah, and that is the last thing you'll see before you die, I'm sure. But okay, so for me, that happens pod at gmail.com. If you want to send us an email, that happens pod. Or no, patreon.com/the Sixler if you want to give me money, and please give me money. I would like money. I'll come up with a reason that it's worth it for you. Eventually, you know, it'll take a while, but that'll happen. I do need your money. We all need your money. Kevin needs your money. Patreon.com/the Sixler to give Kevin money. We're on YouTube now. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment on our YouTube. Okay, so if you're on the YouTube or Reddit or something, leave comments just saying that you're leaving a comment, because that's definitely what I'm talking about when I want to see what people think about the show. I want people to just say like, I'm watching the show. I've just dug my own grave. So we like to end the show the same way we do every week. So YouTube, did we say YouTube? We're on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So until next time, Kevin, what did you think of the chemistry this episode, huh?
This was really good. I really enjoyed this. Yeah.
Nice.
Goodbye.